Here we go. Testing, testing. Hopefully that works. Okay. So I already clicked on the first one, so I'm moving on to the next one.
Now, before getting started on your mock interview, just a few things to consider. First, be sure you are in a quiet space with limited distractions. Be mindful of your frame. What's behind you? Is it clean and organized? Is it
I
distracting
hope
at
so.
all? When going through the assignment, you're going to go through each slide, play the video to hear the question, take a pause, and respond and record yourself before moving on to the next slide. If your response is under a minute, ask yourself, am I providing enough context and information to the interviewer to show them that I have the skills and experience necessary to be successful in the role? And if you are responding under 1 minute, be sure that you take the time and elaborate. Remember, with interviews, you only have one opportunity to lay everything on the table. Question one. Tell us about yourself and why you think you would be a good fit for the position.
So I think I would be a good fit for the Sony artist, story artist position because first of all that I love filmmaking in general and I love to make stories and stuff. So I think that my experience with just film in general with my degree that I've been pursuing and like the composition, the understanding of composition I have and just cinematography in general, I think I'd be a very good fit. Not only because of those reasons, but also because I think I am very proficient in like making mock-ups and character art as well as environment art. Um, and I think I am pretty good at taking criticism as well. So if there's anything that needed to be changed for the project, I'm definitely comfortable with changing and adapting to the style and making sure that the vision for the story is what is being created and making sure that each project is completed in a satisfactory way and contributes to the vision of the story.
Can you show me a project from your portfolio you are proud of and walk me through the design process?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you take a look at my portfolio over here, I think one example that I can use for my personal works is something that I've been working on for a little bit. This is my webcomic series called Toshkot, and I've been working on it for about 2 to 3 years. Still in the process of writing it, but I think that, well, if this loads, if I reload it, that's interesting. Anyways, my Wi-Fi is really bad, so this won't happen in an interview. But um, if you look at all of this, I usually take sketches into account and making sure that I go through the very rough phases of each one. I can show my process right here as this first one loaded. I like to take a rough pass first, and that goes for everything I do. I like to make like a vague, very general sketch or concept art to get like the idea across, and from there we can start building up, and you can give me feedback if there's anything else that you wanted to change. I can definitely do that. Right here I have some storyboards for an animatic that I'm working on currently. um, and you can see that each one has a different kind of composition. I like to make sure there's tension, there's center frame, there's landscape mode. I like to make sure that there's very specific focuses within the frame. I also have character design experience, as you can see here. This is an expression sheet for the main character, Tekwani, his name is. This is the first pass. This is the second pass. Obviously, there I have a full turnaround, but for these purposes, I wanted to show something like a real quick pass. This is part of the design's decisions that I wanted to do. This is some concept art again. And like I said, I really like to start rough sketches first. And then if I really like it, I'll just move on, which I did here with this guy. His name is Huitzira Pochli. Um, and I want to make sure that everything is professional standards. So I always keep the lines clean and stuff. Obviously, this is a finished product, but as I said before, I would like to keep everything sketches first, you know, just to get the vision across, the idea. Sort of like these first examples here, this one and this one here. So not only do I have experience there, I think I also have experience with making full-blown animatics. Like for this one, I had a full storyboard listed out, and I have the video here, which is currently not loading, but I can send via email if you wanted to. And here it is. I made the soundtrack. All of this was created in Blender. And in an review, I would show the whole thing. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that. But I'm very proud of both of those projects, and I continue to keep learning and adding to my skill set.
Can you talk about someone in the design, animation, or photography field who inspires you? What is inspiring about them?
Absolutely. I mean, I have a lot of people, or not people that I personally know, but I do have a lot of people that I look up to in the animation and photography field. At least in the terms of animation, there has been a specific animator that I've been following for a while, and his name was give me one second. His name was, wow, why am I blanking on this now? Something to practice. Dang, he worked on an episode recently, on one of my favorite shows, One Piece, and his name was I can't believe I'm blanking on this because I was literally, it's like Christopher. No, it wasn't Christopher. Well, I other than him, there was another person that I really looked up to. His name was Kim Jung-gi, and he was a really big inspiration for me, at least in terms of character expression and character design. He was a master, man. Like he would do everything in pen, first try. He never uses guidelines or anything, so everything that he made was purely based off of his visual library, and so huge inspiration. I really like his all of his illustrations are super impressive. He has characters everywhere, and he's just a huge inspiration for me. Um, Another one. This is pretty basic, but Hayao Miyazaki is obviously like very world renowned, and I really love his works. I think that every single one of his stories is very intricate, and his characters are very intricate, and so are his worlds. And his world building is very impressive. So those two will always be like a very huge inspiration to me. Um, and for photography, I don't know if videography counts or anything, but or directors, but I really like the directing style of Quentin Tarantino and Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese, the greats. I really look up to them, and I think what's really inspiring about them is how they don't really care about the normal storytelling, the normal ways of storytelling. Like they would have obviously you would have certain acts like Act One, Act Two, Act Three, but I think the directing style of Quentin Tarantino is very, at least his earlier ones, earlier films like Pulp Fiction are like they follow a similar a linear story, and they aren't very like blocked in, if that makes sense. So I really like how he does his dialogue as well, very inspiring. Um, as well as Hayao Miyazaki, like his stories have a certain flow that just feels natural, and I think that's what I really looked up to in him. There's countless artists that I really like right now. Oh, and I just remembered this guy's name, Vincent Chansard. Amazing animator, absolutely incredible. You can look at any of his works. He recently did a um a animation for one of my favorite animes, which is One Piece. And honestly, my jaw was on the floor. Like everything he does is so impressive and so fluid and fun. And I think I really look up to him because he just makes animation look visually stunning and very fluid. And I think that's why I really, really like him.
What is the latest design or advertising campaign in the media that you thought was successful and why?
The latest design and advertising campaign. Um, that's a good question. I think the most recent campaign that I've seen for advertising would be as of lately there's nothing that's been super crazy that stood out to me. Um I guess the most craziest one that I've seen, I mostly follow movies and stuff, so I really pay attention to how a movie rolls out, or at least uh their advertising campaign. Um One that has really been successful. Hmm. Honestly, I thought what was really impressive, more than successful, was the Minecraft movie. I didn't think anybody would see that movie because it didn't seem like the kind of movie that would work, if that makes sense. Because Minecraft doesn't really have like a linear story. So I was very intrigued with how they were gonna pull it off. So I think that when they did the marketing for it, I was kind of impressed because I was like, dang, I kind of actually want to see that movie. And I think, yeah, it's obviously they used a lot of actors to lure in more of the people, which I think is very smart on their end. And it ended up succeeding. So I would say that's one of them. I can't really think of anything else right now that's stood out to me like crazy. Um, but since that's the only thing that's on the top of my mind right now, I think that's what I'm gonna go for. Is probably that.
Can you tell me about a time in college or a former job when you worked successfully in a team? What was your specific role? What was successful in that situation? And what could have been done differently?
Oh, so I was in college and we were doing a assignment for a um I think it was one of the last assignments of the semester where we had only like a day to flush out like a full film, and we had only two class periods. I'm sorry, we only had two class periods, and one of them was to write the script and what was going to happen, and then the other day would be to shoot it. um I think we really worked efficiently because we immediately delegated tasks to who was going to do what. And then part of the challenge was that we had to switch positions the second day. So for the first day, I was directing the storyboards and just how the story would go in general. And obviously, we all pitched in, but I would be the one to, decide what went where. Um, so it was super fun. I really liked the role that I had for the first part, which was directing it, and then the second part was I was the sound guy. So that was really cool because I've never done sound before. So it was a really unique experience, like trying to get all the cuts right and stuff. And being the boom mic guy. So that was really cool. Um, what was successful in the situation? Um, I think what was successful was more of the teamwork that we had. Everybody was very vocal about how they felt with their positions, and I think that's really good because they were all confident in their positions, so that was really nice. Um, what could have been done differently? I would say the locations that we picked were a little bit troublesome, to be honest. So a lot of my classmates, they they picked like filming places that were too dark, and so they were trying to figure out how to get the exposure right for the camera. So that was kind of tough. But we ended up figuring it out at the end, so that was nice. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think that was probably the best one.
How do you meet tough deadlines? Tell me about a time you completed work under pressure.
Oh, actually, I can attest to this pretty recently. I've got a job with a art gallery. So I do a lot of design briefs for an astronaut, Dr. Sand Proctor. Her name is Dr. Sand Proctor. And after I completed a project, I would always submit it for review. And so I did an animation not too long ago where I had to change. Um, I had to tweak a couple of things, and she asked the formats to be different. So she really, I don't think she realized it, but she did put a lot of pressure to make sure that it was done like within a day. So she wanted me to change the formatting. So she wanted one video for like landscape, which was, I believe, 1920 by 1080. And she wanted 1920 by 1080, and then another one for mobile. So that would be like 1080 by 1920. I just did the opposite. Um, so she wanted those two formats, and she also wanted two different variations of the character that I was animating with different materials in Blender. So I had to change all of that um on top of the text and the font that she wanted to change as well. So I had to animate all of that and render all of that all within one day. But what I did in order to complete the work was I just kind of sat down with myself. I took like maybe 5 minutes to organize my thoughts and think about how I would block each time frame in order to complete each task, because I knew that there would be a certain point where I would like have trouble, either with the text, which I did have trouble. Um, uh, I would have trouble with the text and just trying to figure out and tweak how it would look, and also just seeing how the renders were gonna turn out in the first place. So I kind of left like maybe an hour buffer, just to tweak how it would turn out. And so it ended up working out, but I did feel a lot of pressure. Um, but I think it's important just to take your time, at least take a little bit of time to organize your thoughts and, calm yourself down, because it's not the end of the day, but those deadlines need to be completed. So I think taking the time and just organizing how you think you would delegate your time to certain tasks. That's what I learned.
Can you share with me where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do I see myself in 5 years? Well, I hope to see myself at Sony headquarters working for y'all. Um, I really like that company a lot. I mean, I loved all of the Spider-Man movies. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys have in store for your company as well. Like, even if I don't get hired, like, I can still see myself working in the film industry and still making story art, still doing concept art and stuff. It's just it's just something that I love doing. So, um, I would be happy even with like finishing on my comic, maybe promoting it, seeing where that gets me. Um, I plan on just building my portfolio up and just still keeping to the craft. I want to get better and better and better, and there's only one way to go, and that's learning and learning and learning and keep going and keep getting better. So in 5 years, I would probably finish my comic, hopefully get at least maybe four short films done, and one I want to really work on a really big film. So I I want to see where my connections take me, and hopefully they'll get me to a studio or just a whole crew for my own, so we can make our own movie. Um, but that's really where I see myself is in 5 years, is still making story art and still creating movies and such. So that's where I see myself. Cool.